Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to episode 16 of Chess Basics, Things Every Chess Player Ought to Know. Today we are continuing and finishing up our little mini-series on mating patterns. And the topic this video is Bowden's mate. And Bowden's mate's named after Samuel Bowden. He was an English chess player from the 19th century, considered one of the strongest players in his era. And this is a game he played in 1853 in London. It was R. Schulder as white and Samuel Bowden as black. And it's Bowden's turn to move here. And he has already set up some of the elements of his checkmate. And one thing you should notice about this position is the bishop is guarding these two escape squares of the king. So the king actually has no moves. If there was only a way to deliver a check to the king there, that would be checkmate. But there's no immediate way to do that. The other important point is that white's own pieces are blocking his escape here on the left. But to really make this mate happen, what Boden needs is he needs to get more of his pieces involved in the attack, and particularly this bishop here. And so he figures out a way to do that with tempo by sacrificing a pawn. He pushes the pawn forward, opens up this line for the bishop, and attacks white's bishop. And naturally white takes back. And then black follows up with the somewhat surprising move, if you haven't ever seen this before. Queen takes c3, check. So the king is in check. He has no escape squares because all these squares are guarded. So his only legal move is to take the queen. And now for the follow-up, it is bishop to a3 mate. So the bishop is checking along this diagonal and covering that escape. The other bishop covers these escapes, and these two pieces are blocking the escape that way. So that is checkmate. And this crisscrossing pattern with the bishop, where they carve out a block of 4 squares like that and checkmate the king, is known as Bowden's mate in his honor. So let's take a look at another one. This game was played in 1934 in a simultaneous exhibit between Esteban Canal and an amateur. So this game is sometimes called the Peruvian Immortal because Esteban was a Peruvian grandmaster, and it's one of his most famous games. It looks like he's trying to set up a mate similar to what we saw last time. He has his bishop attacking, controlling these squares around the king. He has the queen set up to take there and the bishop set up to come here. But there is a problem, which is that the queen is guarding that square too. So the mate would not work at this point. In fact, it would be it would lose if he tried to pull a Bowden's mate right here. But he has another idea, another way to get there, and the move he plays is pawn takes bishop. Now this pawn, if we back up a second, this pawn was actually pinned. Let's erase some of these arrows. Let's put this arrow on. When he plays pawn takes bishop, the queen is just attacking that rook. And when the queen takes the rook, it's with check, and the queen can then grab another rook. So when he plays pawn takes bishop here, it's actually a double rook sacrifice. And black could just retreat here, but then he's down a piece for nothing, and white has got a killer attack, so white is in great shape. So really, he decides to go forward, take the rook with check, the king moves out of the way, and now the devilish part of this is there's no way back for the queen. The knight is guarding those squares, the pawn is guarding that square, this pawn is guarding that square, and the bishop is guarding that square. So the queen cannot move back to any position that guards this pawn. It has to go forward, takes the other rook, and now you are set up for the Bowden's mate. Queen takes on c6 check, and the king has no legal moves, so he's got to take the queen, and then the bishop comes in for the checkmate. So that's another example, and it shows how grandmasters just have a rich stock of these mating patterns, and they can pull them out and use them at any point. So you got to be aware. So let's take a look. This is another example of a similar kind of mate. It's a little bit different because in the first two cases we looked at cases where the opponent had castled queenside. Here, this is a case where the opponent hasn't castled at all, but you can see there's a lot of similarity in that we've got a bishop here on a3 guarding these squares, and these squares are covered by black's own pieces. So he just needs some way to deliver check to that king. And so the answer is, oh, I forgot, it was black's move. First of all, if black is a little bit aware of what's going on, he should be a little bit nervous about the thought of some kind of mate happening here. He totally ignored that and just played b6. So now it's white's turn to move, and then the mate is not stoppable at this point. It's check, queen takes, the pawn on e6 check. And there's no escape for the king, so he has to take the queen, and then this bishop comes in and delivers mate. And so this is another example of Boden's mate. Okay, and we're going to look at one more example. This will be the last one. This is a game between Zukertort and Anderson, played in 1865 in Berlin. They were two famous, very tactical players of the 19th century. And Zukertort has the white pieces, and he starts out by playing. I'm sorry, it was black's turn to move there. So black is a little bit annoyed by white's knight here. He doesn't want him to maybe play queen here and get an attack on the f7 square, or maybe bishop here. So he tries to chase the knight away with the logical move h6. And what white does, instead of retreating that knight, is he actually sacrifices the knight. And black has really nothing better to do than to take it, and white follows up with the move, let's back up, follows up with the move bishop to c5, c4 check. And so here's actually the critical point of the game. If the king goes back to e8, then the queen, white's queen, can come to h5 and pin this knight and eventually win it. So white will get his material back. So black, trying to hold on to his material, he moved his king to the side with the idea that when the queen comes out to pin or attack that knight, he can defend the knight with his queen. So now the queen is defending the knight, and the only thing that he failed to allow for here is that his king is a bit exposed. So the game continued, queen to g5 check. So if you're not expecting this, this is a pretty surprising move. But if you look at the picture, we see that we have the bishop guarding these squares and the queen attacking these squares. So and black's king has no other squares to move to. He's blocked in by his own pieces. So he has no choice, once again, but to take the queen, and then finally the bishop comes in and delivers the checkmate. So a very nice checkmate. Even when the king is not on the back rank, he can still fall victim to a Boden's mate if enough of his escape squares are blocked off. And that's going to finish it for our brief look at mating patterns. We had four videos on mating patterns, and the next series of videos I'm going to return to the openings and look at other variations in the Ruy Lopez that I didn't cover in the first 4 videos. So hope you guys enjoy that. Hope you liked this one. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you soon. Bye.